Good morning, dear students. Today, from your first flight textbook, we are doing the poem The Tale of Custard the Dragon by Ogden Nash. Ogden Nash was born on 19th August 1902 in New York. He worked as a school teacher before becoming a copywriter. Nash's first poems were published in New Yorker in 1930. His first collection of poems entitled Hard Lines was published in 1931. The Boy Who Laughed at Santa Claus 1957 and Girls Are Silly 1962 are among his famous books. Nash is perhaps best remembered for his nonsense poetry. The Tale of Custard the Dragon is a whimsical fantasy. The poem, written specially for children, in fact looks like a fairy tale. In the poem, we find a fantastical creature like Custard the Dragon, as well as everyday creatures like the cat, the dog, and the mouse. All these characters are personified. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse, and a little yellow dog, and a little red wagon, and a real true little pet dragon. So the tale starts, and the tale starts what? That there is a character. Her name is Belinda. She lives in a little white house, and then she has many pet animals. The animals are kitten, a black kitten, and a grey mouse, and a yellow dog. And to the shock of everyone and surprise of everyone, she has a dragon also as a pet. Really, truly, it is the tale that tells us that she kept dragon as a pet, and she had a little red wagon carriage. Now, if you notice the rhyme scheme is house, mouse, that is A, wagon, dragon, B. And then you can notice the words are repeated over here. Repetition is there, a little. And then the figurative device used is anaphora, that is repeated use of words at the start of two consecutive lines. And a, anaphora is used. And then we can see there is poetic license. Poetic license, that is the conventional way of writing the poetry has not been followed. What changes have been done? There is a change in the spellings over here. Spellings have been changed to create a musical effect. That is, in place of really, truly, it's written realo, trulo. So the poet has used poetic license. Now the name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the little grey mouse she called him Blink, and the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard, but the dragon was a coward, and she called him Custard. So Belinda, we have been introduced with the characters of Belinda, the pet of Belinda, and what she had named them. Belinda named the little black kitten as Ink, and the little grey mouse was called a Blink. The little yellow dog was sharp, that is smart, brave, sharp as mustard. So, because of yellow color, the dog is yellow, mustard's yellow, so the dog was now called as Mustard. But the dragon was coward. The dragon, the ferocious of all, was coward, was meek, was timid, and she called him Custard. So now students, you can again see the rhyme scheme. Ink, blink, A, mustard, custard, B. You can again notice the repetition of the word the little, and anaphora, that is the repeated use of words at the start of two consecutive lines, and the little. And then you can note the simile. Yellow dog was sharp as mustard. So simile has been used. An alliteration in the line, the dragon was a coward and she called him Custard. So alliteration, k sound has been used. Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth and spikes on top of him and scales underneath, mouth like a fireplace, chimney for a nose, and Relo Trulu daggers on his toes. So now we have been given a physical appearance of the dragon. Minute we think of a dragon, an image of a ferocious, powerful animal comes in our mind. But now the physical appearance of this dragon is what? Custard is what? That it has big sharp teeth. It has strong teeth and spikes on top of him. And there are spikes on top, on the back of him. And scales underneath, and there are scales. So the physical appearance itself is very scary. It's powerful, it's brave, with sharp teeth and spikes and scale. It is all scary, the appearance of the dragon. Mouth like a fireplace. Now the poet says what? He's comparing, he's using a simile over here, comparing that dragon can release fire from the mouth like in the fireplace. So it shows his power, the power of dragon. Chimney for a nose, and then there is chimney for the nose. That is, nose becomes the chimney through which the smoke comes out. And Relo Trollo, and really truly, daggers on his toes. Daggers means small sword on his toes. So there are no small sword on his toes, but the toes are so pointed, so sharp that it could cut anything like daggers. Now students, if you notice the rhyme scheme, teeth underneath, AA, nose, toes, BB. Then we can notice simile, as I've already told you, mouth like a fireplace. And there is a use of metaphor in the line, chimney for a nose. So chimney for a nose is an example of metaphor. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. An ink and blink chased Lance down the stairs. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Now the poet tells us about the members of the house, and it tells of praises the bravery of the pet animals. It says, Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. That is the power of all the bears, the powers of bears put together. Belinda was more brave than more brave than the power of bears put together, combined together. So the poet uses over here a simile and says Belinda was as brave as the barrel full of bears. Simile has been used to compare the power of Belinda with the power of bears put together. So she was very courageous, very brave. And Ink and Blink chased Lance down the stairs. Ink, that is the kitten. Blink, that is mouse. Despite being very small, they could chase lions, they could hunt lions down the stairs. That is, Lance also used to scare and run away from these animals, that is Ink and Blink. They got scared with the presence of Ink and Blink. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in the rage. And now, talking of the bravery of the dog Mustard, he has been compared to the tiger's rage, tiger's anger. But Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Now, the attitude of Custard was altogether opposite from the physical appearance he had. Custard did what? Custard was not at all courageous. He was meek, he was coward, and he always looked for a nice safe cage. Now, students, if you notice the rhyme scheme is bears stairs, A, rage, cage, B. I've already told you there is a simile in the first line. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. And again, the simile has been used in the third line. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage. And then there is an alliteration. Belinda, brave, barrel, bears. Burr sound has been repeated. Now, when I say burr sound, it is a sound, but when I say B, it is the letter, the alphabet B. So, the alliteration is the sound burr has been repeated. Belinda tickled him, she tickled him unmerciful. Ink, Blink, and Mustard, they rudely called him Percival. They all sat laughing in the little red wagon and the Rollo Trollo cowardly dragon. Now, Belinda used to do what? She used to tickle the dragon, and she used to do tickle means to touch the body part lightly so as to create laughter. So, she used to tickle the dragon and she used to tickle it unstoppingly, mercilessly, and she used to do it cruelly so as to create laughter. Ink, Blink, and Mustard, they rudely called him Percival, and Ink, Blink, and Mustard used to name dragon as Percival. Percival was a knight in a king's court known for his bravery, but then he ran away. He was termed as coward. They all sat laughing in a little red wagon and the Rollo Trollo cowardly dragon. Now, when they see the dragon react to the tickling, now this is something like tickling works on a soft touch, on a soft body, but dragon having a rough, monstrous body, the tickling is working on a dragon. So, they are laughing. Ink, Blink, Mustard, and Belinda, they are sitting in this red wagon and laughing, seeking the cowardly dragon. Now, in the very first line, tickled him, repetition is there. And then there is allusion in the second line. They rudely call him Percival. Percival, that is an example of allusion. Allusion, that is a reference to a person or place. So here the reference is to a knight in a king's court. And then the Rollo Trollo reference is there. It has been time and again repeated in the poem. And then the rhyme scheme: unmerciful, Percival, A, wagon, dragon, B. Belinda giggled till she shook the house, and Blink said, weak witches giggling for a mouse. Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age, when Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Now, Belinda used to laugh at the dragon, and she used to laugh that it seemed that the whole house would be shaking because of her laughter. The foundation of the house was shook because of the echo of the laughter in the house. And Blink said, weak witches giggling for a mouse. That is the mouse Blink. He used to say weak, which is the sound for a mouse. Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age, when Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Now, when Custard is begging that he wants a nice safe cage for himself, he wants to be safe in a cage, then Ink and Mustard used to insult him, create his laughter, asking for dragon about his age. That is, dragon was behaving like a small creature, small kid crying for a cage. So they used to insult him, asking about his age. Now, student, the rhyme scheme used is house, mouse, A, age, cage, B. And if you notice, there is onomatopoeia in giggled and weak. And then there is a repetition in the last line, when Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Suddenly they heard a nasty sound, and Mustard growled, and they all looked around. Meow, cried Ink, and oh, cried Belinda. for there was a parrot climbing in the window. Now, when all were busy making fun of the dragon, they were sitting in the red wagon and making fun of the dragon. Suddenly, an unpleasant noise came, and they started looking for the source of the noise. Where did this noise come from? Mustard growled. Mustard started growling. That is, the dog started growling to look around. What is this noise all about? Meow, cried Ink, and ooh, cried Belinda. And Ink cried meow, and Belinda cried ooh. For there was a parrot climbing in the window, and they saw that there was a parrot who was climbing in the window through the window of the house. So the rhyme scheme is sound around A, Belinda, window, B. And then there is onomatopoeia, that is the sound words growled, meow, ow. And then there is the poetic license used in the line window. Window in place of window. Window has been used so as to rhyme with Belinda. Pistol in his left hand, pistol in his right, and he held in his teeth a cutlass bright. His beard was black, one leg was wood. It was clear that the parrot meant no good. Now, in this stanza, the appearance of parrot is being told to us, that how he was all dangerous. Why? Because he was carrying arms with him. In both his hands he had arms, and he had a sword also, and this sword was in his mouth between his teeth. His beard was black, and one leg was wood. So one leg was wood and one was an artificial leg, indicating that he was a tough man. He might have lost one leg in some fight or a battle. And though he had lost one, he was disabled, but then his appearance was all frightening. It was clear that the parrot meant no good, and seeing to his appearance, it was understood that he meant harm to the people and the pets in the house. Now, if you see, students, the poetic device in this stanza is alliteration. In the second line, her sound has been repeated with he held his. And then there is the sound of b alliteration in the third line, that is beard black. The rhyme scheme is A, B, right, bright, A, wood, good, B. Belinda paled and she cried, help, help, but Mustard fled with a terrified yelp. Ink trickled down to the bottom of the household, and little Mouse Blink strategically mouseholed. Now Belinda, when she notices the parrot have entered the house, she turned all yellow, all pale because of fear, and she started looking for help, and she started shouting, help, help. But Mustard fled with a terrified yelp, and Mustard made a huge cry and ran away, was the first one to run away from there. Ink trickled down to the bottom of household. Ink silently went to the bottom of the house so that he can hide from the pirates. And little Mouse Blink strategically mousehole, and blinked very smartly, disappeared in a mousehole. So Belinda was left all alone, and all the pets, that is Mustard, Ink, and Blink, fled from the place. Now students, if you notice the rhyme scheme, help, yelp, A, household, mousehold, B. And again, help, help is repetition. And then you can see terrified yelp. It is an example of a transferred epithet. An epithet means that the adjective has been transferred to another noun. So terrified, yelp is not terrified, Mustard was terrified. And then there is a poetic license in the fourth line, mousehold, just to create a rhyme effect with household. Mousehold is word has been used. But up jumped Custard, snorting like an engine, clashed his tail like ants in a dungeon. With a clatter and a clang and a jangling squirm, he went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. So Custard. Custard was the only pet who was left, and all the pets have fled from the place. So Custard came to rescue, and when he comes, he's snorting like an engine. So he's making a huge noise through the nose, and that noise shows his anger. And this noise was no less than the noise coming from an engine. Clashed his tail like ants in a dungeon, and he's clashing his tail, he's moving his tail, and that tail, when he's moving that tail, it is making a clattering sound. With a clatter and a clang and a jangling swarm, it is making a clattering sound like the iron rod striking the walls of the prison in a dungeon. He went at the pirate like a robin at a worm, and very courageously Custard goes, making this all sorts of noise of dangerous noise of anger, and goes to the pirate as if like a bird, a robin follows a worm to eat it. So he goes and faces this pirate. Now students, if you notice the rhyme scheme: engine, dungeon, AA, sperm, worm, baby. And then there is a whole lot of simile in this stanza. The first line itself, Custard snorting like an engine, is a simile. Then his tail like ants in a dungeon, simile. The parrot like a robin at a worm, simile. So these all three are examples of simile. And then there is onomatopoeia, the sound effects of clatter, clang, jangling. These are all sound effects. So this is an example of onomatopoeia. The parrot gaped at Belinda's dragon and gulped some grog from his pocket flagon. He fired 2 bullets, but they didn't hit, and Custard gobbled him every bit. Now when parrot sees this dragon, he is open mouth, gap his mouth wide open. He is amazed to see a huge dragon in front of him, and he sees a dragon as a pet animal. Belinda's dragon, that is Belinda's pet, it is a possession of Belinda, it is. And he's open mouth, he's shocked, he's surprised, and gulped some grog, and gulp is swallowed some grog. Grog is a liquor, wine from his pocket flagon. So he was carrying some flask in his pocket, and he have some wine so that he can he's infused with all energy and strength to fight this huge monstrous dragon. He fired 2 bullets. Now he was having a gun in both his hands, so he fired 2, but they didn't hit. But then his shot was a poor one. It did not hit Custard, and Custard gobbled him every bit, and Custard swallowed him, ate pirate every bit. So that fierce looking pirate he enjoyed eating that fierce looking pirate, who Custard enjoyed eating the pirate. Now students, if you notice the rhyme scheme: dragon, flagon, AA, hit, bit, baby. And then there is an alliteration: gulp, gog, g sound has been repeated. Belinda embraced him, Mustard licked him. No one mourned for his pirate victim. Ink and blink in glee did gyre around the dragon that ate the pirate. Now everyone in the house was very happy. Why? The pirate was dead. So Belinda expresses her gratitude to the dragon by embracing him, hugging him. Mustard licked him. Mustard, the dog, expresses his happiness by licking the dragon. No one mourned for his pirate victim. Nobody is mourning. They are not sorry for the death of a pirate at all. Ink and blink in glee. Glee, happiness, did gyre. Gyre means circular movements around the dragon that ate the pirate. And ink and blink also show their happiness by dancing around the dragon, and they are showing their happiness, the gratitude towards the dragon that the pirate is dead. Now students, if you notice the rhyme scheme: him, victim, AA, gyre, pirate, baby. And then there is an alliteration in the third line: glee, gyre, that is g sound has been repeated. But presently up spoke little dog Mustard, I would have been twice as brave if I hadn't been flustered. And up spoke Ink and up spoke Blink. We would have been 3 times as brave, we think. And Custard said, I quite agree that everybody is braver than me. Now they all started enjoying and embracing the Custard, the dragon, because Custard dragon was known for its timidness. He was coward, and they started embracing and hugging him. And then suddenly they realized that they used to exaggerate about their bravery. So now they're giving excuses. But presently up spoke little dog Mustard. Now the dog Mustard spoke. What? I would have been twice as brave if I hadn't been flustered. He says that I would have been twice as brave as Custard if I have not got nervous. So he's giving excuses for why he ran away. And up spoke Ink and up spoke Blink. We would have been 3 times as brave, we think. So the Ink and Blink also said that they would have been thrice as brave as the dragon. And they are not able to believe that the dragon, the coward dragon, had done what? Had done some bravery, some heroic deed over here. And so they are giving excuses. And Custard said, I quite agree that everybody is braver than me. And dragon very humbly, Custard accepts that he is the most coward, and every other pet, everyone was braver than him. Now students, if you notice, there is a slight difference in the rhyme scheme over here. Mustard, flustered, AA, blink, think, baby. Agree, me, CC. So over here the rhyme scheme is AA, BB, CC. Belinda still lives in her little white house with her little black kitten and her little grey mouse, and her little yellow dog, and her little red wagon, and her yellow trollo little pet dragon. So Belinda enjoys living in that white house after the incident of Parrot, where Custard very bravely faced the parrot and put him to death and devoured him. So after that incident also, Belinda is in the same white house and she enjoys living with her pet animals. That is the black kitten, grey mouse, yellow dog, and her little pet dragon. And they all enjoy sitting in a wagon making fun of this dragon. Belinda is as brave as a barrel full of bears, and Ink and Blink chase lions down the stairs. Mustard is as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard keeps crying for a nice safe cage. Now we learn that how these pet animals undermine the strength and courage of Custard, the heroic fight of Custard with the pirate, and they exaggerate their bravery, their courage, telling us that how Belinda is brave like all bears put together. Ink and Blink can chase the lions down, and lions are afraid of the presence of Ink and Blink. Mustard is as brave as a tiger's rage, but Custard, the one who fought Pirate bravely, that Custard is a coward one and is looking for comfort and safety of himself, and Custard accepts his cowardness and he says that everyone is braver than him and is looking for a nice safe cage. So the poet Odger Nash is giving us a lesson that one should have the strength of mind and self-confidence to be really great. Thank you students. I hope you liked the explanation of the poem.